social protection is a human right, and it includes all the measures and policies that can be implemented by a country to reduce inequality, poverty, and vulnerability. And social protection can be implemented through a diversity of approach, including contributory and non-contributory mechanisms. There are some contingencies that are very key when we talk about social protection. These contingencies include access to health service, so to have access to medical care, child allowance, family benefits, old age benefits, benefits in case of injury, and some benefits when people lost their income and are in some situation of vulnerabilities. So social protection mechanisms should provide income security and facilitate access to basic social service so that people can be protected against these contingencies. So how social protection can positively contribute to food security and nutrition. As I said, social protection provides income security. By providing income security, social protection allows poor households, especially, to have income and facilitate access to food. By facilitating access to basic social service and health service, social protection can positively contribute to nutrition and improve the situation for many people, especially children, old age person, and other people in vulnerabilities. So how governments, country can build comprehensive social protection system and contribute to food security and nutrition. The first step is to develop a comprehensive social protection system. And this should be developed through a participatory process, including the main stakeholder, worker, employer, ministries, key ministries on social protection, development partner, and it should be based on a social dialogue. Social dialogue is very key because it allows to identify the priority needs of the population, especially the poor, regarding food security, nutrition, access to health, and so on. So after developing a social protection policy based on a social dialogue, countries should develop some option to increase the fiscal space for social protection. This is very key because currently many African countries are spending less than 4% of the GDP on social protection. And this situation cannot contribute to the extension of social protection. So how African countries can develop some option through some analytical work and identify some adapted option to increase the fiscal space for social protection. Another aspect is how to implement some adapted mechanisms to reach people in informal and rural sector, because as we know, those people are the most who suffer from food security and other aspects related to nutrition and so on. So I think ILO has developed some tool and mechanisms, especially a guide on how member states, African countries, and other states can develop some tools, some mechanism to extend social protection to people in informal and rural economy. So this is a key aspect. And I think that another aspect I will elaborate on is the social dialogue aspect, as I mentioned in the first step. This is very key because before developing and adopted a social protection policy that is responsive to food security and nutrition, we should identify the priority needs of the population. what are the priority needs of population regarding social protection. And when I talk about population, this includes women, children, older person, and other people who are in vulnerability situation. So through a social protection, a social dialogue, a participatory process, I think we can develop and adopt some policy that can contribute to reduce food insecurity and contribute to increase the nutrition. So I think I will stop here. Despite the priority given to social protection in Africa, and this is illustrated in many statements, we realize that the social protection coverage in the continent remain very limited. According to the ILO estimation, only 70% of African population is covered by at least one social protection benefit. So in order to support African countries to extend social protection coverage, the ILO regional office in collaboration with African Union Commission and other stakeholder development partner has launched last year the Africa Regional Social Protection Strategy. And the objective of this regional strategy is to support African member states to reach 40% by 2025. This strategy is structured in three main action areas. The first one is about developing social protection strategy, program, legal framework to extend coverage. And within this action area, we will focus on two main components. The first one is how to extend social protection to workers in informal economic and rural sector. By supporting this extension, the strategy will contribute to formalization and decent work in rural economic, agricultural sector, and this will contribute to improve the availability of food through high productivity of workers in informal and rural sector. Another aspect within this first action area is universal health coverage. As you know, by facilitating access to health service, it contributes to improve the nutrition, especially for children, for women, and people who are living in vulnerability. So the first action area of the regional social protection strategy will definitively contribute to improve the decent work in informal economic, in rural sector, rural economic, and positively impact food security and nutrition. The second action area is about financing gap. As you know, Africa is the region with the lowest expenditure on social protection. So the idea within this action area is to support African countries to increase the fiscal space for social protection. And by increasing the fiscal space, we will improve the capacity of African countries to extend coverage to vulnerable population, to people in informal economic and rural sector. And as I said, this will also contribute to improve decent work in rural economic and agricultural sector. And the third action area is about strategic partnership. And I think the collaboration we are having with World Food Program and OSA and other development partner is part of this third action area of the regional strategy. And what is important is to point out the fact that the strategy is built on some recent developments, especially this global accelerator for job and social protection that has been launched last year by the UN Secretary General. And as you know, the main objective of this global accelerator is to create more jobs and to extend social protection to people who are not covered currently. And this includes people in agricultural sector, in rural economy, and so on. So this strategy will contribute to implement the global accelerator in Africa. And by doing this, we will contribute to improve decent work in agricultural sector. Another development is the COVID crisis and the recent crisis due to the war in Ukraine. And as all of you are seeing, this war in Ukraine has created food insecurity and is impacted the economy of many African countries. So investing in social protection will improve the decent work in rural economy. This will improve the productivity of people in agricultural sector, rural economy, and this will contribute to increase the production, the availability of food, and I think this will allow African population to have access to quality and quantity food so that we can prevent food insecurity and positively increase the nutrition in all the countries.